This story begins with a boy named Yang Ming, who is practicing a special spell. In front of Yang Ming stands his master, who is teaching him a protective spell. Yang Ming has been trying for a long time to perform the spell, but he just can't seem to get it right. It seems like Yang Ming is completely unable to grasp the protective spell. When Yang Ming asks his master for help, the master simply tells him, "You have to think about someone you truly care about, someone you want to protect with all your heart. That will strengthen your protective abilities even more." Keeping this advice in mind, Yang Ming starts practicing more seriously. Years pass by quickly. But sadly, even after all this time, he still hasn't mastered the protective spell. Every attempt ends in failure. Now, even Yang Ming starts telling his master that he should focus more on teleportation spells, instead of the protective one. His master already knows that Yang Ming is quite skilled in teleportation, which is why he insists on the protective spell instead. The master had explained before that if a warrior wants to become great, knowing the protective spell is essential, especially when you're going to face your most dangerous enemies. In such moments, protective spells will prove to be life-saving. Yang Ming was beginning to understand his master's words, when suddenly they both hear strange sounds coming from outside. It sounds like someone is breaking through the protective shield surrounding their palace. It's a giant serpent, so powerful that it would do anything to kill its enemies. The master quickly realizes that the snake is about to break through the protective wall and enter. To save Yang Ming's life, the master uses a teleportation spell and sends him away to a distant place. Now, the outer protective wall is extremely weakened. The black snake could break through any moment. The master, now preparing for battle, uses his own blood to summon 3 guardian spirits, beings that have protected him since childhood. 2 of the guardian spirits rush to repair the shield, while the 3rd stays with the master to protect him. Now, we see the black snake itself. It's enormous in size, standing tall in front of them. If it had its way, it could destroy everything in one strike. But for now, its goal is to kill the master. Later, it was revealed that Yang Ming had returned, after teleporting all his friends to safety, to help his master. But Yang Ming had no idea that this very act would lead to his master's death. Yang Ming gave a command to all his companions. "We have to help master." So, they all began using protective spells together. Now, Yang Ming still didn't know how to perform the protective spell, so he just pretended to cast it, acting like he was doing it correctly. During the battle, one of the guardian spirits fighting the snake was killed, but at least it had managed to enter the snake's body and inflict heavy damage. Now the dangerous snake threw its poisonous weapon toward all the students. The other students were well protected, but Yang Ming, who couldn't use the protective spell, was completely exposed. If the venom hit his body, he would surely die. To save him, the master stepped in and took the venom on himself instead. As a result, the master became infected. The guardian spirits were finally able to defeat the snake, but they too were on the brink of death. Yang Ming began blaming himself. He ran to his master and broke down in tears, feeling that it was his immaturity that caused all of this. If he hadn't come back, the master might have dominated the fight completely. Now, as marks began to appear on the master's body, he spoke to Yang Ming. "This snake came from the Imperial City. It has now completely escaped, and word about it must have already spread. But many years ago, this very snake appeared once before. Back then, it took 4 powerful masters to capture it and imprison it in the Imperial City using their powers. And now, that day has returned. This snake has left its territory once more, and it's not alone. Other dark forces are coming with it. They'll bring chaos and destruction everywhere." Then the master gave Yang Ming a final mission. "To control all of this, you must bring the 4 masters' statues to life. For that, you'll need to find 4 skilled masters and take them to the Imperial City. Only then can the statues be activated. And only the spirits of those 4 ancient masters can stop the dark forces. Otherwise, the future will be full of pain and suffering." That's why, without wasting any time, Yang Ming sets off toward the Imperial City to carry out his plan. Upon reaching the city, he meets a warrior named Baya. As the two move forward toward the palace, they suddenly hear the sound of a melody. It was being played on something very old, which draws their attention. Yang Ming and Baya rush toward the source of the music. They soon discover that the melody is being played by a demon who possesses a royal guitar. Baya immediately questions the demon, asking how someone so unholy could dare to play such a sacred instrument. The demon explains to Yang and Baya that the melody belonged to a friend who disappeared years ago, and he plays it in her memory. However, Baya harbors a deep hatred for demons and dark forces. Whenever he encounters a demon, his instinct is to destroy it, and here too, he prepares to attack. Fortunately, Yang Ming arrives just in time. He stops Baya and tries to explain that this particular demon may not be as evil as he seems, and that perhaps he deserves another chance. But Baya doesn't believe in such ideas. Yang Ming then tells the demon to escape quickly and himself engages in a fight with Baya. A fierce battle takes place between the two. Both are strong warriors, but ultimately, Yang Ming wins, using his teleportation technique to push Baya far away. As it turns out, Baya is actually one of the 4 masters destined to enter the Imperial Palace and revive the ancient statues. However, neither Yang Ming nor Baya is aware of this yet. For now, they still see each other as enemies. After the battle, Yang Ming approaches the demon and talks to him. The demon, now greatly weakened, senses that Yang Ming is a good person. He requests Yang Ming to take him as his master. Realizing the demon's potential, Yang Ming accepts and uses his power to turn him into a guardian angel, placing him under his protection. From now on, the demon will serve under Yang Ming and help guard him. Later, all 4 masters are summoned to the palace. Yang Ming and Baya arrive there as well. It is only after entering the palace that they learn the truth, that they both are among the chosen masters. In fact, Baya was ready to fight Yang Ming again, unaware of their shared destiny. At the same place, the 3rd master, a woman named Yang, is also present. However, the 4th master has yet to appear. At that moment, the bodyguard of the princess of the imperial city arrives. The bodyguard explained to all the masters that the ritual would take place the next day, during which the statues would be revived. But for today, they all needed to rest. So, all the masters, including Yang Ming and Baya, retired to their respective chambers. Yang Ming was a bit surprised, though, because the queen's bodyguard looked exactly like his previous master. He could completely relate her appearance to his old teacher. Before he could dwell on it much longer, the princess entered the room. She was now fully prepared to perform the ritual. But just then, a soldier rushed in, delivering shocking news: the 4th master had been killed. This was a serious blow. Without the 4th master, the ritual couldn't be completed. The matter was reported immediately to the queen to decide what should be done. Everyone was then summoned to the queen's private chamber, where she kept her face hidden. The princess explained everything to the queen, who was deeply concerned about how someone could have murdered the 4th master right before the most important ritual. A thorough investigation was clearly needed. However, the ritual also had to be completed, no matter what. So the queen made a bold decision. She asked her own bodyguard to take the place of the 4th master. They couldn't afford to delay it, not while the dark forces continued growing stronger. The princess understood the urgency and began the ritual. All the masters unite to equally divide the entire statue and complete the ritual. But the problem escalates when it is discovered that a demon has attacked the princess. The demon inserts some strange kind of worms into her body. Young noticed these things, so using his powers, he removes the worms from the princess's body. However, now the demon's influence starts affecting Young. Booyah was also present there, so he helped Young to get rid of the demon. Booyah even used the demon's power to complete the ritual. Gradually, with all 4 masters present, they proceed with the ritual and respectfully honor each statue properly. It seemed like the ritual was finally going to be completed. But suddenly, a blue-colored shield forms around the entire imperial city. When Young and Booyah find out about this, they come out of their chamber and see it. They suspect that this must be the work of some demon or dark power. They all go inside the chamber from where the noise is coming and see that the queen's bodyguard is attacking the 3rd master, Young. The bodyguard tells Young and Booyah that Young is the one behind all these things. But Young believes something else. At that moment, a hair demon appeared and attacked everyone in the room. It was obvious now that dark forces were present, and naturally, multiple demons would be there too. One of them, the hair demon, grabbed Yang by the neck and tried to kill him. It seemed like Yang wouldn't survive for long. Before dying, Yang tried to share a deep secret about the queen with Yang Ming, but he couldn't hear it in time. Yang died. Now, everyone had to proceed with extreme caution, as shadows of dark energy loomed all around. But first, they needed to find out who among them was the imposter feeding information to the enemies. Baya suspected the bodyguard, while Yang Ming believed the queen was hiding something from them. Their thoughts clashed, so they decided to investigate separately, agreeing not to interfere with each other's paths. Both immediately headed toward their respective chambers. As Yang Ming approached his, he saw the princess inside, attempting to steal a sword. Yang confronted her directly, asking why she was stealing. The sword, after all, was a gift from his master in the early days, and it held immense power. Yang Ming was determined to unlock its secrets at any cost. Before the princess could explain anything, the hair demon appeared again and attacked her. The princess took advantage of the moment and escaped, leaving Yang Ming to face the demon. He asked her what her real purpose was and why she kept attacking them. The hair demon only said that she had waited years for this moment, and she had finally come to complete her task. Before vanishing, the demon left behind a photo. It was an image of the queen, but she looked exactly like the princess. There was no visible difference between them. This revelation shocked Yangming, as he began to put the pieces together. He immediately rushed to find Baya, who was interrogating the bodyguard in a separate room. But suddenly, the bodyguard attacked Baya. By the time Yangming reached the room, the bodyguard had already escaped, and Baya lay unconscious on the floor. Yangming quickly used his powers to heal Baya, bringing him back. The two of them hurried out of the chamber and spotted the bodyguard walking away with the princess, their hands held together. Baya was confused. What was the bodyguard doing with the princess, and where were they going together? That's when Yangming revealed the truth. The princess and the queen were not two different people, they were the same person. The queen they had been seeing behind the curtain was just a wooden figure. It had all been a deception, orchestrated by the queen's bodyguard. He had created such a foolproof plan that no one ever suspected a thing. Baya couldn't make sense of it all, so Yangming explained everything to him. Years ago, when the deadly serpent threatened to attack the imperial city, the four masters combined their powers to trap it within the city. While their powers were sealed inside the statues, the serpent itself had to be contained in a vessel, a living host. That's when the princess made the ultimate sacrifice. She absorbed the serpent's soul into her own body. By doing so, she became the vessel, ensuring that the snake could never escape. As long as it remained inside her, the serpent was trapped within the city's boundaries. This act granted the princess immortality. She would live forever and never die. At first, she saw it as a blessing. But over time, she came to realize that immortality was not a gift, but a terrible curse. It was something she could never break, no matter how much she wished to. Due to the magical barrier that was created around the city to contain the snake, the princess herself couldn't leave either. She remained confined within the palace for years, and eventually began to feel suffocated. She longed to escape but knew she couldn't risk freeing the serpent within her. It was revealed that Yangming's master used to visit this place to teach and share his wisdom. Over time, he and the princess developed a strong bond. She appreciated his presence and the positivity he brought. However, the master eventually had to leave. Not wanting the princess to be alone, the master left her with a guardian angel, who was, in fact, the same person now known as her bodyguard. That's why the bodyguard resembled Yangming's master so closely. The princess spent many years with this guardian, sharing a deep connection. But the bodyguard, too, desired freedom and immortality. It turned out that he wanted the deadly snake's soul, the one inside the princess, to be transferred into his own body. That way, the princess could finally be free, and he would inherit her immortality. Now that Yangming and Baya had uncovered the entire truth, they rushed to stop the bodyguard from going through with the soul transfer. But the bodyguard had already anticipated this. Using powerful protective spells, he launched a fierce attack to prevent Yangming and Baya from interfering. The bodyguard immediately used a teleportation spell to send Yangming and Baya to a faraway place. However, Yangming was highly skilled in teleportation magic himself, and he quickly escaped it and returned. But what he saw upon his return was deeply disturbing. The bodyguard had put the princess into a deep sleep and was now extracting the deadly snake from her body. After performing the dark ritual flawlessly, the cursed snake was finally released. The bodyguard then absorbed the serpent's soul into his own body. Now, having gained immense power, the bodyguard had seemingly become immortal. As his powers expanded, he transformed into a giant serpent himself and began destroying the entire imperial city. In response to this destruction, ancient magical stones that had been lying dormant were reactivated, forming a protective shield around the city to prevent the cursed snake from escaping. 3 of the 4 stones were functioning properly, but the 4th stone, the one associated with the bird, was stuck. This was no accident. The bodyguard had deliberately prevented it from activating, ensuring the shield wouldn't fully enclose the city. If left unchecked, the serpent could easily escape and wreak even more havoc outside the city. As destruction loomed, Yangming couldn't bear to stand by any longer. He summoned his 3 guardian angels, who rushed forward to confront the monstrous serpent. One of them even formed a powerful shield in front of Yangming to protect him. Just as things seemed hopeless, the missing section of the city's protective shield was suddenly completed. The 4th stone had activated at last. A shocking truth was revealed: Baya had sacrificed himself to activate it. In doing so, he gained immense power, even sprouting large wings as he became the 4th stone himself. Now strengthened, Baya joined forces with the guardian angels to battle the bodyguard, who had become the massive snake. At first, they managed to wound the serpent significantly, forcing the bodyguard to separate from the snake's form and reveal himself in his true, fully immortal state. His power had now reached its peak. The bodyguard, now unstoppable, began eliminating the guardian angels one by one, and severely injured Baya as well. The battle had become terrifyingly one-sided. The bodyguard alone was overpowering everyone. If left unchecked, it was clear he would completely obliterate the Imperial City and leave nothing behind. Yang Ming also wanted to help. So, he approached the princess and tried to make her understand that the person she thought was her master was, in fact, not the real master, but a guardian angel created by him. Every guardian angel has a mind of its own, Yang explained. To earn the princess's trust, Yang teleported her to a sacred place where his master's consciousness still existed. There, she could hear directly from the master himself. The master made it clear, while he had indeed created the guardian angel, he had no control over its thoughts or choices. Hearing this truth from the master, the princess finally understood everything. She, too, now wanted to stop the bodyguard. Yang and the princess immediately teleported back to the battlefield, where Baya was still fiercely fighting the now serpent form bodyguard. Though Baya was holding his own, the bodyguard had the upper hand and inflicted serious damage. Yang Ming knew that the only way to truly defeat the cursed serpent was with his master's sword, a weapon of immense power. He communicated with Baya and passed the sword to him. But the bodyguard had anticipated this. He struck quickly, knocking the sword out of Baya's hand. Just then, the princess picked it up. However, instead of attacking the bodyguard, she pointed the sword at herself, threatening to take her own life. The bodyguard was stunned. He never wanted harm to come to the princess. But she had no other choice. In a heartbreaking moment, the princess took her own life using the very sword that could have slain the serpent. She collapsed, lifeless. The bodyguard was devastated. He had spent nearly his entire existence by the princess's side. Distracted and overwhelmed with grief, he let his guard down. Baya seized the opportunity and struck a final blow. The giant serpent died, and with it, so did the immortal bodyguard. The Imperial City was now fully safe. The protective shields that had surrounded it began to fade away, signaling that the threat had finally been vanquished. The dark forces would never return again. And with that, our story comes to an end.